my name is Francesca Tornado, and I'm an environmental program manager and ecologist with CDOT Region 1. So I've been working in Colorado for the past 21 years as an environmental professional. We're probably standing in one of my favorite aspects of my job, and that's really been working on a variety of wildlife mitigation projects over the last 12 years because we really have meaningful impact on both the safety of our highways as well as providing connectivity for our wildlife. So wildlife mitigation is important because there's a significant safety component. There's a lot of wildlife that gets hit on our highways and it causes property damage as well as injury. And so it's important from a highway safety perspective as well as habitat connectivity, allowing wildlife to move under or over our highways is very important, especially for the I-70 mountain corridor, because we do have a lot of wildlife that moves across this area. All right, so as part of the I-70 Floyd Hill project, we completed an environmental assessment under the National Environmental Policy Act. And as part of that process, we determined that the most meaningful locations for wildlife mitigation weren't actually going to occur in the Floyd Hill project area, although there are some wildlife mitigation efforts that we'll talk about. But based on wildlife vehicle collision and wildlife connectivity issues, this location here at Genesee actually rose to the highest location in our priority ranking because this location has the highest rate of wildlife vehicle collisions in the I-70 mountain corridor east of the Eisenhower-Johnson Memorial Tunnel. So in terms of new wildlife fencing and deer fence, the I-70 Floyd Hill project within the project limits has constructed about 2 miles on both sides of the highway of new wildlife fence, and the Genesee Wildlife Crossing project has about 2.5 miles of new wildlife fence. And within those fence segments, we also have something called an escape ramp, and that's a feature that allows wildlife, if they get within the highway right-of-way, if they get around the fence ends or within the highway right-of-way, it allows them to escape the highway right-of-way and go back to the habitat side. So we have about 14 escape ramps constructed on the Genesee Wildlife Crossing project, and we have about 8 that are under construction within the Floyd Hill project limits. Yeah, so in terms of deer guards or wildlife guards, they function similar to a cattle guard. If you've ever encountered one of those hiking, they're really our best technique to try to control necessary gaps in our fencing. We will put a deer guard across that break in the fencing to try to control those gaps. Based on a variety of studies across the western United States, we know that designed and constructed wildlife mitigation systems, so a wildlife crossing with fences, escape ramps, and wildlife or deer guards, we know that those can reduce wildlife vehicle collisions anywhere between 80 and 90%.